Damme is the king of martial art movies with Seagal. I mean, they reached the peak. I mean, not right now. They're not flying high on the kite right now.
Hey guys, in this video we're going to find the answer once and for all to one of the age-old questions. And there's a lot of good ones out there. For example, how were the pyramids built? Did we really land on the moon? Was Don the Dragon Wilson jealous of Jean-Claude Van Damme? Well, that's the one we're finally going to answer once and for all, and who better to ask than Don the Dragon Wilson himself. So I love this video topic because this is something I really wondered in the 90s, and I know a lot of you guys did too. Anyway, if you like this kind of video, this kind of content, please help support the channel. Hit that like button, subscribe to the video, comment in the video, please engage with it, and if you want to provide extra support, which would be greatly appreciated, check out the Patreon where we'll give you guys exclusive content for as little as $3 a month. Oh, one last thing, by the way, related to the video I posted prior to this, titled "The Truth Behind This Feud Will Leave You Stunned, Don the Dragon Wilson versus Frank Dukes." So Frank Dukes actually messaged me and wanted to share this message with you guys. So he said, "Weak and overwhelmed individuals respond to others' success by attacking it. Don tried to rip off Bloodsport success for himself, doing 5 blood fist crappies, went straight to video. Need I have to say more? Well, nobody would dispute that Bloodsport is better than all the 5 Blood Fist movies combined. I mean, let's be honest. Now, one of those 5 Blood Fist films, actually probably more than one of those 5, are probably better than the 4th Bloodsport, The Dark Humate. So that franchise really went downhill. Obviously, the Bloodsport sequels had nothing to do with Van Damme or Frank Dukes or anything, but the quality really went downhill.
But not everybody says good things about the movies. Some people say, oh, he makes the cheapest movies. Oh, I hated all his movies. There are people that, you know, not everything you're going to see is going to be positive, especially Van Damme fans, because they go, well, you only say that because you're jealous of his movie career. and I think about, look, I am jealous of Brad Pitt. I am jealous of Tom Cruise. I never say anything bad about them. But I don't mean the jealous, the negative jealousy. Just, man, I wish I'd get the opportunity. I wish I had their talent, because first of all, I'm not as good as them. I don't deserve a career like theirs. I can't act like them. I mean, those guys are really good actors. And so I guess I'm not jealous in that sense, but
I think people, you know, they obviously make the comparison because, again, like at the end of the day, if anybody in the martial arts or even the action genre, they're going to compare you against the guy on top. Like as far as like a karate martial art guy, it's really Van Damme and Seagal that had the biggest impact with like bigger Hollywood films. But it is interesting though, you had the door open that we talked about, so you could have been the big guy in the Matrix or something, you know? Now there's a whole story behind that. You guys got to check out this video. This is another part of the video interview that I did with Don the Dragon Wilson, talking about why he never really just got that big studio film, though he could have. He was very close. But you got to watch that video to find out.
Yeah. I mean, I could have had a good role in it for sure if I'd worked with him at that time. Because look, if I'm on the set working with him, of course I'm going to befriend them. We're going to be nice and comfortable, and I'm going to bust my ass to do as good a job as I could. And Richard Donner, yeah, I don't think he would think, you know what, Don's not good enough to be in Lethal Weapon. We got to get Jet Li. You know, I don't think that would have happened. I think he would have thought, hey, this guy's good. And I think I'd get along with Mel Gibson. You know, I met him one time. He seemed to be a nice guy.
But essentially, though, that's why people would always compare you more, or say you're jealous of Van Damme as opposed to like Brad Pitt or something, because it's like you are both the karate movie guys, you know?
Yeah, but wouldn't I be jealous of Chuck Norris because he had an 8-year run on Walker? I think I might have said a couple of bad things about Chuck. Or would I be, you know, jealous of Bruce Lee and say something bad about his? He grossed $100 million with Enter the Dragon, and that was back in the 70s.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, and what about this? Jackie Chan, he's pretty good. I don't badmouth Jet Li. I don't badmouth him. I don't badmouth anybody.
I want the truth.
I think people see you guys more as rivals because you're only like what 6 years older, so kind of like a contemporary. And then having similar type movies, and then the possible kickboxing match in the 90s. So that's why I think kind of people always like to kind of bring your name up with Van Damme, you know?
Well, look, I don't. I'm not even in Van Damme's class in acting, entertainment. I tell people it's like this. Brad, if you're talking about an analogy, Brad Pitt is like a great white shark in the ocean, and I'm like a little bitty tad. I'm like a little goldfish in a fishbowl. Yes, we're both fish. Yes, we both swim in the water. There's some similarities, and there's but Van Damme is so much out of my league in the movie industry. I shouldn't even be considered. I'm like a little minnow to him.
What's Van Damme? So Brad Pitt's
so
a shark.
Matter of fact, it's almost like this. It's like as an actor, if Van Damme wins the Oscar, and I'm jealous, and I wouldn't even. I'm not an Oscar nominated actor. In other words, there is no competition. Van Damme is the king of martial art movies with Seagal. I mean, they reached the peak. I mean, not right now. They're not flying high on the kite right now, but they had. I'm not even in their league as an actor, and I've never compared. I've never said I was.
Real quick, Don.
It's just the blood sport thing is a fake, and Van Damme is not a kickboxing champion.
Okay, so that's your issue. But in your analogy of the minnow and Brad Pitt's a great white shark, where's Van Damme in this?
Like I said, he'd be like a barracuda. Or a big tuna.
Bad. That's not bad because you told it before,
no,
like a trout,
he's still
like
swimming in the ocean because he's had theatrical releases that were Universal. He's had studio releases, Jean-Claude.
Yeah, big time. He had that deal with Universal.
So he's swimming in that fish. But I mean, his biggest payday was $7 million for Street Fighter. That's what I heard. And these other guys have gotten 15 million, 20 million. They're a level above, and their careers are just as big today as they were 10 years ago. Brad Pitt.
Yeah, they're still doing it in this movie, sure.
Yeah, they're still doing big projects, and they're critically acclaimed. And I don't consider myself in any of their, not even Van Damme's. I'm not even in the realm of Van Damme movies. His movies are so much bigger budget than mine.
So just to set the record straight for everybody,
doesn't necessarily mean I think my movies are crap, because you do a low budget movie like Leaving Las Vegas, ultra low, lower budget than my movies, and Nicolas Cage wins the Oscar for it, right? So you can do a great performance in a low budget movie. You do a movie like what was it, Dallas Buyers Club, dealing with a serious subject, and it's a deal with AIDS, and the fact that the U.S. government didn't want any experimental drugs to be offered, so this guy went to Mexico, and he's not allowed to sell the drugs in America, but he wants to help people, these AIDS victims, stay alive. So he gives it away free, but he says, you got to buy it. You got to join my club, and then I give you the drugs free. And it's called The Dallas Buyers, true story. And that both actors won the Academy Award. Now that movie was lower budget than my movies, much lower budget, but both actors won the Academy Award. So being low budget movie, which mine are, doesn't mean being bad. It has nothing to do with the quality. As long as you're using 35 millimeter and you're using the same cameras and sound, and as long as you do the production values well, you can end up with a good movie. Then it's all about the story and the performances, right? And both actors in the Dallas Buyers Club won the Oscars. Jared Leto and Matthew McConaughey, doing a low budget movie. That, by the way, that was a 28-day shoot, I believe they said. 28 days.
Real quick, Don, what was the average budget of your movie? Like in the mid 90s or something?
I have no idea.
Oh, you don't know?
Well, here's the thing. I don't open up their bank accounts and check producers. They talk different things. I know this. I did a movie called The Last Sentinel, and we sold it at the Sci-Fi Channel as a world premiere for $300,000 to get to show it as a world premiere. Now they have a kind of like a Sci-Fi Channel is well known. They have a like a measuring thing where they rate what they'll do for a world premiere, which is they'll pay about 10% of the budget of the movie. Okay. So the producer of the movie, The Last Sentinel, said it was a $3.2 million movie. Mm-hmm. So they looked at it and they thought, well, it's probably not 3.2. It's probably 2 million. But listen, we want it. We like the movie. Let's buy it. So they give him the 300,000, 20% of what he claimed, or what they thought. What was it, Tony? Was it Yeah, I think it was 20. Well, anyway, they took a guess that it was worth like $1.5 million or something less than 3 million. And they bought it and they showed it. And it was released all over the world, highly successful. It's called The Last Sentinel.
Sure. Yeah, that's on
It's on
YouTube.
free now. But the actual cost of that movie, to my knowledge, was $640,000.
Oh wow.
Now, the director was all pissed off because he's thinking, well, everybody thinks this is as good as he can do if you give him $3 million. But when in reality, he made the movie for like less than $700,000.
Sure.
And the way he did it, though, is he called in all kinds of favors. Like he got all these pyro guys and all these stunt guys to do it for like under their normal costs and things because they were helping him out. He's a stunt coordinator. He does studio stuff. Jesse Johnson, I don't know if you know Jesse, but Jesse directed and wrote The Last Sentinel. And the movie looked great, looked big. But everybody was told it was a $3.2 million movie. Now, I've never had a $3.2 million movie. I think, myself thinking, being on the set, judging from other movies and things, I think Cybertracker 2 was probably my biggest budget movie.
Okay.
And it was probably $2 million, maybe. And it was all stunts. It was all stunts. It was not going in my pocket for sure, or actors' pockets, or music, or it just was a stunt. So you watch Cybertracker 2. I think that might be on YouTube. It's one stunt action scene after another. Car chase, explosion, shootout, car chase, one after another for 90 minutes. From the very beginning of the movie to the very end. It's just so. The stuntmen should have given me an award because I got all the money went in their pockets. In the pyro guy, because the guy who just does stunts is one thing, but then there's somebody who controls all the explosions.
Sure.
You know what I mean? The bombs that go off and stuff. And yeah, Cybertracker 2 would be the most expensive, and I believe it's got to be under $2 million.
Okay.
But the amount of money spent is not directly proportional to.
Yeah, sure. You could spend next to nothing and get something great, or spend $10 million to get garbage.
Well, Ring of Fire, I get all kinds of compliments to this day. Ring of Fire. I believe that movie was made because they shot it in 2 weeks.
Wow.
We used all of our friends' houses. We didn't rent any houses because all the houses you see our scenes were crew members, or one of them was Eric Lee's house. So if you know Eric Lee, the Little Dragon, they call him. Yeah, it was an ultra low budget movie, and people to this day write and say they love it. A lot of people say they think it's my best movie, Ring of Fire.
That's cool.
I only one fight scene in the whole movie.
Yeah, because you said it's more of a love story. But
yeah,
real quick, Don, just to set the record straight once and for all, because I'm a huge Van Damme fan. I got a lot of Van Damme fans that watch the channel. And people will say, "Oh, you're jealous of Van Damme." So basically, just to set the record straight. You are not jealous of Van Damme. You are where he was in bigger studio films. You're happy with the films you've done. You made a good living. The only issue you have is that he was portrayed as a kickboxing champion, and because you're a real kickboxing champion, you don't like that.
And he won't just come out and admit on any interview that Jean-Claude Van Damme, was never a world champion kickboxer, because he was asked one time, what association gave you your title? His answer, I don't remember. There's not a single person now, which means that it wasn't the WK, it wasn't the PK, it wasn't ISK, it wasn't the PKO, it wasn't the KICK, Karate International. Wasn't. There are associations, and everybody knows them now. Where are his videotapes of his 12-round fights? Because at the time he claimed he was a champion, we fought 12 rounds. Well, where are his fights, his world title fights? You can find mine. You can find fights.
Yeah, no, they're all over YouTube. Sure, that we could find.
But I mean, every champion has a record, and every champion has an association that gave him the title. Look, his name is Van Berenberg. Okay. A lot of people go, "Oh, Don, you don't realize he was a world champion. His name is Van. There's no Van Berenberg world champion. He is listed as fighting one time, and I believe it was in Tampa, Florida, and it was at the Waco tournament.
Sherman Bergman. Did you ever message him back from Facebook?
Oh, no, I have not. But I remember you saying Sherman says he fought him, right?
Yeah, please message him back, and we gotta get more info about that.
We'll see if Sherman's got. But listen, fighting Sherman as not being a world champion.
No, but we
is
need to
undefeated,
know
though.
more details of that
He
fight.
claims he's undefeated. It's said on Bloodsport anyway, not from him, but canon publicity. Undefeated middleweight champion. Now, there was an undefeated middleweight champion. It's Bill Wallace. I believe Bill filed a injunction against them, cease and desist, to take it off the poster because Bill could show that hurts him because he was the middleweight champion. And of course, it was just a publicity stunt by Cannon. Now, you could say Van Damme's innocent, but from then on, he's acted and put on as if he was a world champion. He's never, I don't even know anybody that fought him. I don't know if he fought a pro fight, like Sherman saying he's fought. When he says, when he did Bloodsport, we had world champions, you have contenders, you have associations. This could all be verified. Van Damme could do it in a heartbeat. If he verifies it for me, then I'll say, you know what, I got nothing against him. He was a champion. He did have, I don't know how many. Who retires at that age, though? Just think about it.
Well, I mean, he would have wanted to pursue movies. Would be
well, he
reason,
did.
Right?
He supposedly he had a gym that he ran.
Oh yeah, California gym
or whatever, and he closed it up and he moved to L.A. to be an actor, and then he worked odd jobs and stuff until the other thing with Cannon came out, the Bloodsport, and his life changed. Like for me, Blood Fist, my life changed. But he had no kickboxing record as a Van Berenberg. He has no auditoriums he fought in. Video existed then. Televised TV show. Yeah, if it was a world championship, he says he's a champion, it'd be on TV. Somebody, look, every fighter, we verify each other this way. Just tell me your top 5 opponents. And if you say Duran, Hagler, Leonard, and Hearns, and Benitez, then I said, man, this guy's good. But if you go, well, there are secret people, I have no names. I don't know their names. They don't know my names. Or then what you're saying is has no validity in it.
Yeah.
Not one name. He gives us not one name.
Why Don the Dragon Wilson is not jealous of Van Damme.
I'm happy for his success.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's a great video topic. We set the record straight on my channel because I have all the Van Dammes watching. I'm a Van Damme fan. So, boom, we got a good story that no one else covered.
You can be an absolute fan of a guy, but just not, you don't have to tolerate every bit of his behavior.
Yeah, sure.
And the behavior I don't like is putting a false pretext of being a former champion fighter. He keeps saying he's going to do a comeback. Remember that? Well, you can't come back if you haven't been there.
Well, you come back or not, we'll see if this can actually relate to you in the future, right? Maybe next year.
If this leads to a fight with me and Van Damme, there's going to be some big bucks, man.
Oh, and there's going to be
we'll make a bunch of money
ruling over that fight.
Jean-Claude, you know what I call him? My joke is Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, I heard that. I'm not a fan of that, but I've heard you say that before.
No, don't say that because he has done some good movies.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And a bunch of successful movies.
There's a lot of them.
It's good for martial arts to be publicized like that, And so yeah, he's not all. Look, I'm much more sympathetic to Jean-Claude than Frank Dukes.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Much more. Van Damme is an athlete, for one thing. Nobody denies that. He's a bodybuilder slash martial artist, and he did point fighting. He did compete. Nobody's doubting that under Van Berenberg, he wasn't a member of the Belgian WACO team, which is World Amateur, karate organization. So he fought for that. But, the kickboxing stuff, no, he wasn't any world champion kickboxer. Just to ask Van Damme, if you ever get him on your show, it lists his top 4 opponents that he beat.
Okay.
And we'll see.
Get him on someday.
Yeah. We'll see what his answers are. The top 4 guys he beat. And we'll see if it's like I said, let's just go to the heavyweights. Top heavyweights I beat: Oak Tree Edwards, PKA champion; Dennis Alexio, ISKA champion; Maurice Smith, WKA champion; James Waring, IBF champion plus WKA champion.
Yeah, those are crazy names.
Man. Those are some big heavyweights. Bronco Sikatic, K1 champion, knocked him out. Those are just my 5 heavyweights. And, you know, I fight all the way down to middleweights. So the cruisers, the light heavies, the middleweights. I fought middleweight champions to beat them. Adapon Phanta, 4th rated in Thailand. I beat him. He was my last Thai fight in Hong Kong. I mean, I can give you a list of guys, and then you don't just have to listen to me. Just
yeah, your record is it's undeniable. It's highly respected. Obviously, it's well known, and anybody could just go to YouTube and watch it for proof.
Yes.
So no one would ever
I'm not
question
invincible.
that,
I'm not like, unfortunately, I'm not like Frank Dukes. It's not 300 no. But no, I was a kickboxer. I am a fighter. I do compete.
Hey guys, for more Don the Dragon Wilson content, make sure to check out the playlist. There's so many great videos in there related to Don Wilson. And check out the other playlists I got in the channel. Things on Jean-Claude Van Damme, Steven Seagal, Sylvester Stallone, Frank Dukes. So much good stuff.